Hey everyone, it's me, Abby from Fluix. I hope everyone's having a great day. So I know it's tough right now getting a new GPU with the market being totally out of whack, but what about revamping your existing GPU? That means your existing hardware. There is a process of cleaning it, removing the thermal paste, and applying new thermal paste that might bring new life into your old hardware. So today I'm going to go over how to do just that. So this is my very own wall-mounted gaming PC. It's my personal one with the Fluix Tri-Swift water block, link in description. And it features a EVGA GTX 1060 6GB card. It's the dual fan design, as you guys can see right over here. It's more than likely that you guys have an older 10 series card just like mine, or an older 9 series or a 20 series card, and you can't get your hands on a new GPU. Well, today we're going to be doing some preventive maintenance. Basically what we'll be doing is removing this heatsink right over here and the fan setup from the PCB, checking out, cleaning out the heatsink from all the dust, because using it for years on end, if you haven't cleaned out your GPU, there can be a lot of dust buildup in these heatsink fins. Then we're going to go ahead and clean off the thermal paste application and reapply new thermal paste on there to see if we can revamp the card. You see, a lot of times when you haven't done this and there's a lot of dust buildup, and with the GPU heating up while gaming and cooling down while you have it turned off, and constantly doing that for years on end, can actually have the thermal paste inside dry up. Now, drying up your thermal paste obviously is not good for your temps, and you'll notice that your GPU might be heating up or thermal throttling, or it's not boosting to the higher core frequencies. So doing this type of preventive maintenance and removing the heatsink, cleaning it out, and reapplying thermal paste is just another way that you can make sure that your GPU is in tip-top shape. So I'm kind of curious to see if doing this will have any tangible performance increase when it comes to thermal performance and core frequencies. So right now, here I'm running a benchmark. Let me show you. So with the ambient temperature set to 74 degrees Fahrenheit, I'm running a Unigine Heaven benchmark on this GTX 1060, and I'm monitoring the core frequencies and the average temperature, the final max temperature as well, just to get a benchmark before doing the preventive maintenance and changing out the thermal paste. Alright, so this was the results from the Heaven benchmark. This was before we did any preventive maintenance or removed the heatsink, and this is the results. We reached the highest temperature of 72 degrees C and an average core clock of 1873 megahertz, and the highest core clock at 1911 megahertz. Alright, let's go ahead and remove the card. Alright, so we went ahead and removed the heatsink from the PCB. Make sure when you're removing the fan header and the RGB light header, you are really careful, because these headers are very fragile. So you can accidentally rip the cord and it'll stop working. So just be careful while doing that. The thing about paper towels is it leaves a little bit of fibers around, and you don't want those fibers, so you're just going to clean it as much as you can. Make sure there's no fibers. Alright, so the GPU is back onto the system. As you guys can see, I turned off the white LED right over here. I'm working on soldering an RGB one. I think that's going to look pretty cool. Anyway, we are idling around 44 degrees C right now. So let's go ahead and run a Heaven benchmark. Alright, so we just finished the benchmark, and let me remind you that the ambient temperature was the same across both tests. We left it at 74 degrees Fahrenheit. Let me show you the results. So here are the results from the benchmark. Let me show you guys what the average temperature and core clocks were. So right now we're averaging around 65 degrees C. That's after the benchmark. It's still running Heaven in the background, as you guys can see. Anyway, during the benchmark, our average megahertz was 1898 megahertz. Our highest core clock was 1911 megahertz, and our highest temperature was 67 degrees C. So let's compare the results. we wouldn't expect the GPU to experience any changes in core clock frequencies, as we didn't overclock or undervolt the card. The timings were the same, the voltages were the same. The only thing that would change core clock frequencies is if the card experienced thermal throttling. But both in the benchmarks before reapplying thermal paste and after, the temperatures were far too low for the GPU to experience thermal throttling. Now, I'm not really sure what thermal paste EVGA uses in the factory, but whatever it is, even after a couple of years, thermal paste does dry up and it loses its coefficient of heat transfer. I use Thermal Grizzly's Hydronaut when I reapplied the thermal paste. Anyway, if you guys really like this content, make sure to comment below, give us a like, and subscribe to the channel. It really helps out.